The first sign that something was wrong with the Fiat Tipo was that it was still running. That was not what I expected from a car sold at the kind of lot where the owner kept the keys in a cardboard shoebox and the coffee machine in the corner hadn't been cleaned since the Berlusconi years. I was unemployed, broke, and desperate, which is exactly the demographic targeted by dealerships with names like Auto Affari Superissimi. Perfect car, said the salesman, a balding guy named Giulio with a tie that had more grease stains than pattern. He slapped the Tipo's hood like it was a horse he was trying to wake up. One owner, no problems, drives like new. I looked at the dented bumper, the slightly mismatched door, and the fact that one headlight looked like it had seen combat in Kosovo. Like new from which decade? I asked. Giulio smiled the way salesmen smile when they've already decided you're buying the thing whether you know it or not. For you, Matteo, only €3,000. A gift. Practically a crime to sell it this low. He didn't say why it was that low, which should have been my first clue. Still, I bought it. Partly because €3,000 was just within my pretend I still have a future budget, and partly because the bus line near my apartment had been cut, meaning that without a car I was at the mercy of Naples' idea of public transportation. If you've never taken a Neapolitan bus, imagine a steel tube where laws of physics, timetables, and personal hygiene all go to die. So yes, I bought the Tipo. At first things seemed fine. The engine coughed but turned over. The brakes squealed but didn't fail. I rolled down the windows and for the first time in weeks I felt like maybe I'd made a good decision. Then came the thumping. At first it was subtle, like someone had left a soccer ball in the trunk and it shifted with every turn. I ignored it. Old cars make noises. That's basically their hobby. But the thumping kept happening. Sure. Heavy. Distinct. I drove another kilometer before paranoia won. I pulled into a side street, popped the trunk release and climbed out. The Tipo's trunk creaked open like it resented me. I peered inside. Empty. Or at least it looked empty. Just a ragged floor mat, a smell like damp metal and nothing else. I shrugged, got back in and started driving again. The thumping resumed. Louder this time. Like someone, or something, was making its presence known. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel. Okay, I muttered. Loose muffler. Definitely a loose muffler. Or maybe a haunted muffler. Either way, nothing I can't handle. But deep down I already knew, I had not bought a bargain. I had bought trouble. And it was riding in the trunk. Curiosity, contrary to what every proverb says, doesn't kill cats. It kills unemployed IT guys with questionable impulse control. Which is why, against all rational instinct, I pulled the Fiat Tipo onto a dirt patch by the side of the road, walked around to the back and popped the trunk. I expected, what? A broken jack? A bag of contraband tomatoes? Maybe a mafia accountant stuffed in there, which, while concerning, at least would have made sense in Naples. What I did not expect was a silvery, wriggling, very annoyed creature staring back at me like I'd just interrupted its nap. It wasn't big, half my height maybe. Skin that shimmered like wet mercury. Limbs too long, fingers too many, eyes large and multifaceted, like a dragonfly had made a bet with a mirror. It was strapped down by something that looked like plastic but glowed faintly, like someone had stolen it from a sci-fi prop warehouse. And then, because the universe clearly hates me, the creature spoke. Not with its mouth, assuming the small slit under its non-nose counted as a mouth, but directly in my head. A voice crisp, accented, and deeply irritated. Finally. Do you know how long I have been waiting to be released? I screamed. Then I fainted. When I woke up, I was lying on the gravel, staring at the sky. For one brief, glorious second, I convinced myself I had hallucinated the whole thing. Then the voice came again. Are you functional now? I turned my head. The alien was still there, still bound, still glaring at me with compound eyes that reflected the sun in a way that made me feel judged. I fainted again. The second time I woke up, the voice was even sharper. Your autonomic stability is inefficient. Are you defective? I'm not defective, I stammered, scrambling upright. I'm just, look, where the hell did you come from? The creature shifted in its restraints, the glowing polymer flexing but not breaking. I am Corix. I was in transit. My vessel was compromised. I was relocated. Relocated? To my car. Yes, apparently. Though judging by this conveyance, I fear your species has not mastered basic mechanical efficiency. Hey, I said, automatically defending the Tipo, which was insane because even I hated it. It gets decent mileage. Corix made a buzzing sound that was probably alien laughter, and that's when headlights flared down the road. A black SUV barreled toward us, too fast, too deliberate. Problem, Corix said very calmly. The SUV skidded to a stop just ahead, and two men in gray suits jumped out. Sunglasses, earpieces, the works. Step away from the trunk. One of them barked in Italian, pointing something that was definitely not a standard-issue firearm. Oh great, I muttered. Government spooks. This day just keeps getting better. Corix didn't wait. A sudden pulse of light radiated from its body, shorting out the straps. The glowing polymer snapped and disintegrated like melting sugar. Corix leapt from the trunk, unervingly agile. The men opened fire. Not with bullets, bolts. Blue-white streaks of energy sizzled past me, scorching the asphalt. Are you insane? I yelled at Corix. Yes, it said, grabbing my arm with way too many fingers. Now move. The next 30 seconds were a blur of terror. Corix dragged me behind the tipo as energy bolts chewed holes into the dirt where I'd just been standing. The Fiat shuddered, the back window exploding into shards. Your vehicle is inadequate for cover, Corix said. Yeah, thanks, I'll note that in my review. I shouted. The men advanced. Corix raised one hand, then shifted. For a split second, Corix's body rippled, reconfiguring. Its silvery skin hardened into plates, refracting light like a prism. The bolts that struck it splashed harmlessly as if bouncing off a shield. New alien concept unlocked, my brain whispered inanely. Corix hurled a pulse of energy back. The SUV's front end lifted, slammed down smoking, alarms shrieking. The men scrambled for cover. Enough. Corix barked, its voice reverberating in my skull. We go now. Before I could argue, it shoved me into the driver's seat of the tipo. But the cars? Drive, Matteo Bianchi. I floored it. The tipo roared, clunky but obedient as we tore down the road. The rearview mirror filled with smoke, sparks, and two very angry men scrambling back into their ruined SUV. Beside me, Corix sat calmly in the passenger seat, compound eyes unblinking. I believe, it said, your species calls this a getaway. I gripped the wheel tighter, heart pounding. I had officially gone from unemployed IT guy with a used car, to accessory to intergalactic jailbreak, in under 10 minutes. And I had the distinct feeling this was only the beginning. I parked the tipo in the first underground garage I could find, cut the engine, and sat there gripping the wheel like it was my last anchor to sanity. My new passenger, meanwhile, radiated the exact opposite of sanity. Corix was inspecting the glove box like it was a holy artifact. When it popped open and revealed a stack of unpaid parking tickets, Corix's eyes glittered. Primitive storage device, it mused. And apparently your prior owner was a criminal. Don't deflect, I snapped, turning to face it. What are you doing in my car? And don't say, existing. I want the full explanation. Corix tilted its head. I was relocated here by smugglers. Their plan was inelegant. They fled when their pursuers found them. Smugglers? Yes. Interstellar trade of the unsanctioned variety. Okay, I said, trying to process this while my brain screamed you were talking to a silvery alien who just shrugged off laser fire. So you're some kind of cargo? Corix's mandibles, yes, it had those I hadn't noticed before, clicked faintly. I'm not cargo. I am a fugitive asset. My captors intended to weaponize my physiology. That was their error. Your physiology, I repeated. You mean the whole, turn your skin into armored plates and casually deflect death beams thing? That was a minor demonstration. My core utility is far more advanced. Its body shimmered, then shifted again, not into armor this time but into something translucent. For a horrifying moment I could see through it, its organs glowing like pale green circuitry, threads of light pulsing in rhythm. This is my neurophase lattice, Corix explained matter-of-factly. It can interface with electronic systems at a molecular level. Which is why your species weapon dealers want me. Oh, fantastic, I said. So I've got a walking, talking Wi-Fi router in my car. With built-in armor. Great. Corix regarded me evenly. You seem ungrateful. I'm not ungrateful. I'm terrified. I'm not the babysitting type. I can't protect you from men in suits with energy rifles. I can't even protect myself from rent. Then perhaps, Corix said calmly, I should simply neutralize your brain and acquire a more suitable host. Its eyes glowed faintly. I felt pressure in my skull, like my thoughts had just been put under a microscope. Whoa. I threw my hands up. No frying Matteo's brain. Bad alien. Corix blinked, then the pressure lifted. You are correct. It would not be polite. I slumped in my seat, heart hammering. Polite? You're debating etiquette while threatening to scramble me like eggs. Yes. Consider it incentive. Before I could argue, motion flashed in the rearview mirror. Headlights. A black SUV. Another one. Oh how. The garage door screeched open and the suits poured in. This time they weren't subtle, half a dozen spreading out, rifles glowing. Corrix leaned toward me. Your vehicle's propulsion is inefficient, but its frame can be enhanced. Enhanced how? Corrix pressed one shimmering hand against the dashboard. The tipo shivered. Lights flickered on the console that had never worked before. The engine purred like a lion on espresso. You just hotwired my car with your alien brain. Yes, Corrix said. Now drive. I didn't need convincing. I floored it, and the tipo lunged forward like it had been possessed by the ghost of a Ferrari. Concrete pillars blurred. Men shouted. Blue-white bolts splattered across the walls as we whipped through the garage. Left. Corrix barked. I swerved left, narrowly missing a column. My side mirror exploded under a bolt. Up ahead. I shouted. That's a wall. Corrix pulsed light through the dashboard. The headlights blazed white, and the garage door blew off its hinges like it had been punched by God. We roared out into the Neapolitan night, sparks flying behind us. I didn't know what scared me more, the men in gray chasing us or the fact that my crappy Fiat Tipo now handled like a prototype jet. Beside me, Corrix settled back eerily calm. As I was saying, you will assist me, Matteo Bianchi? In return, I will not liquefy your cerebral cortex. Wonderful, I muttered, swerving through traffic while horns blared. A partnership based on mutual blackmail. Just what I always wanted. The next morning I woke up with a hangover. Not from alcohol, but from adrenaline, fear, and the crushing realization that my new roommate was a sentient piece of alien contraband who could either save or barbecue my brain depending on its mood. Corrix, sitting cross-legged on my couch and watching La Prova del Cuoco on TV with deep fascination, did not share my existential dread. This species' obsession with carbohydrates is remarkable, it said, eyes fixed on a host flamboyantly sprinkling flour. You're watching cooking shows while government hit squads are hunting us? Yes, Corrix replied. Your enemies are inefficient. We have time. Turned out we didn't. By noon, I'd hacked into the dealership's very poorly protected records. Pro tip, if your password is literally password, you deserve whatever happens to your business. Buried in a spreadsheet of VIN numbers was a contract linking the Fiat Tipo to an import-export firm in Bari, which was suspicious because I doubted the Tipo had ever left Campania, much less imported or exported anything but rust. I didn't have time to dig deeper. By evening, while refueling at a gas station, I noticed them. Gray suits, sunglasses, clean shoes too shiny for Naples asphalt. 3 of them scattered casually, all pretending to browse snacks. My paranoia meter went off the charts. Then came her. She was tall, with iron-straight hair and the kind of posture that screamed, military academy graduate who never once got a grass stain. She walked toward me like the asphalt had been paved solely for her heels. Matteo Bianchi, she said, not asked in clipped Italian. Return what isn't yours. I glanced at the Tipo, then back at her. The car? I made the last payment. Well, technically I made a payment. Okay, half of one. The point is it's mine. Her eyes narrowed. Not the car. I swallowed. The fuzzy dice? Because those came with it. Somewhere inside the Tipo, Corrix chuckled telepathically. Your deception is substandard. Even my captors lied better. Shut up, I muttered under my breath. Signora Lattanzi raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? Nothing. Just talking to myself. It's a thing. Very normal. She didn't look convinced. She gestured. 2 of the suits moved toward the Tipo. Corrix acted first. The car's headlights flared without me touching the keys. A deep thrumming sound, like a subwoofer the size of a cathedral, rolled through the station. The suits froze. Then the Tipo shifted. Not the bodywork, the air around it. A shimmering distortion radiated outward, bending light, warping the very edges of reality. The pump signs wobbled like heat haze. My stomach did a backflip. Corrix's voice filled my head. Neurophase veil, localized dimensional distortion. They will find it disorienting. Disorienting? I echoed. I feel like I just inhaled paint thinner. The suit staggered. One dropped his weapon, clutching his head. Another fell to his knees and vomited. Signora Lattanzi, to her credit, stayed upright, though her jaw tightened. You don't know what you're involving yourself in, Bianchi. Trust me, I said, backing toward the driver's seat. I'm well aware I'm involving myself in very stupid things. She signaled. The third suit drew something not at all pistol-shaped and fired. A beam of red energy scorched past my ear, sizzling a pump into a fireball. Move! Corrix barked. I dove into the tipo, Corrix sliding into the passenger seat in one fluid, horrifyingly inhuman motion. The neurophase veil collapsed, reality snapping back into place like an elastic band. The suit scrambled, weapons rising. Corrix pulsed the dashboard. The engine roared to life. I slammed the gas, fishtailing out of the station as a bolt of energy detonated the tarmac behind us. Flames blossomed in the mirror. As we sped into the night, my heart hammering against my ribs, Corrix said calmly, "Your enemies are more resourceful than expected." No kidding. They just turned a gas station into Michael Bay's retirement fund. Corrix tilted its head. Then we agree. We must escalate. Oh no, I muttered. I don't like the sound of you saying escalate. Then prepare to dislike the next several days. If you ever find yourself trying to sneak an alien into your apartment complex, I recommend not using the oversized hoodie method. For starters, Corrix was not hoodie-shaped. Its arms bent wrong, its legs bent worse, and every neighbor I passed gave me the kind of look reserved for people who had clearly shoplifted an inflatable kayak under their clothes. Stop moving like that, I hissed as we shuffled past Signora Russo, the 75-year-old who lived 2 doors down and had the eyes of a hawk and the soul of a gossip column. I am attempting bipedal locomotion, Corrix replied, its mandibles clacking faintly from under the hood. Your species' body design is unnecessarily fragile. Fragile? We ran from men with laser rifles yesterday. Yes. And you wheezed. I muttered something deeply unprintable in Italian and dragged Corrix inside my apartment before Russo could ask why my cousin looked like a malfunctioning scarecrow. Inside, Corrix immediately gravitated toward my espresso machine. It tilted its head at the hiss of steam. This device compresses organic matter and scalds it to produce fuel. Coffee, I said, setting 2 cups on the table. It's not fuel. It's life support. Corrix sniffed at the cup, then, with surprising delicacy, lifted it and took a sip. Its compound eyes brightened faintly, like a computer booting up. Acceptable fuel, it announced. Crude but functional. I sat down across from it, exhausted. You realize you're drinking ground beans and water, right? Yes, Corrix said, sipping again. You realize you are hosting a fugitive alien with neurophase capabilities in an apartment with inadequate ventilation, yes? Touché, I muttered. For a moment there was silence. Just me and Corrix drinking espresso like this was a perfectly normal Tuesday. Then Corrix leaned forward. Matteo, I am not merely intelligent. I am designed. I frowned. Designed. My lattice allows me to not only interface with systems but to learn them. Faster than any organic creature should. That is why I was taken. That is why they want me back. So you're some kind of biological supercomputer? Corrix tilted its head. That term is imprecise. I'm not a computer. I am a symphony. Every organ harmonizes data. Every cell records. Loneliness, Matteo, is not just emotional for me. It is wasted bandwidth. The way it said that, low and almost brittle, made me pause. For the first time I realized Corrix wasn't just strange, it was alone. Before I could respond, the building shuddered. A low, vibrating hum filled the air. Lights flickered. My espresso machine sputtered out a hiss of steam like it was possessed. What was that? I asked. Corrix stood, eyes glowing faintly. A scan. They have found us. The hum intensified until the windows rattled. Outside, a gray van screeched to a stop. 3 suits jumped out, hauling what looked like a satellite dish mounted on a tripod. It spun, pulsing waves of energy across the building. They're sweeping for neurophase signatures, Corrix explained. Great, I said, peering out the blinds. So we're basically Wi-Fi and they're using a big alien router to find us? Correct. Suddenly, the dish swung and locked on my apartment. The hum became a shriek. Corrix's skin flared silver. We must leave. Out the front door? They'll see us. No, Corrix grabbed my arm, its fingers tightening with inhuman strength. We go through the wall. Through the alien pressed its palm to the plaster. Its skin shimmered, shifting into that translucent phase I'd glimpsed before. A ripple of light spread outward, turning solid concrete porous, molecularly unstable. Oh hell no! I yelled. That's my security deposit. Then Corrix shoved me straight through the wall. It felt like being dunked in ice water while having every bone in my body tapped with a tuning fork. I stumbled out the other side, gasping, and landed on the balcony of the apartment next door. Seconds later, Corrix phased through beside me. Down below, the suits looked up. One shouted. Weapons rose. Corrix extended its arms. Its skin flared again, this time radiating a low, resonant pulse. My neighbor's laundry rack rattled. The men below staggered, clutching their ears as glass shattered across the street. New alien concept, I gasped, ears ringing. You're a walking sonic grenade. Corrix didn't answer. It grabbed me again, pulled me into the alley, and we ran, me tripping, it gliding, into the Neapolitan night. Behind us, the gray suits scrambled, their scanner dish sparking, their shouts fading. As we ducked into another narrow street, I panted, espresso and parkour. Not how I planned my day. Corrix's mandibles clicked faintly, almost like laughter. Then your plans are inadequate. When you're hiding an alien in your apartment, you learn 3 things quickly. Neighbors are nosy. Alien shit. Corrix left behind faint silvery dust, which I prayed didn't cause cancer. Wi-Fi passwords don't stand a chance against a creature whose brain could probably run Google all by itself. Which is why, at 3 in the morning, I sat at my laptop while Corrix sat beside me, eyes glowing faintly, siphoning data faster than I could blink. You could just do this without me, I muttered. Hack the system directly. I could, Corrix admitted, sipping another espresso, third of the night. But your crude interfaces amuse me. Watching you struggle is recreational. Glad I'm your entertainment subscription. Still, with Corrix boosting my bandwidth in some horrifyingly biological way, firewalls might as well have been made of wet cardboard. Within an hour, we were neck-deep in the dealership's old records. That's when I found it. Here, I said, pointing to the spreadsheet. 3 cars moved on the same night you got stuffed in my tipo. 2 show us scrapped the next morning, both crushed at a yard in Caserta. But this third one. Unaccounted for, Corrix finished, mandibles clicking. Which means there's another one of you? Possible. Or another something. Smugglers rarely transport only a single unit. Efficiency demands otherwise. Unit? I asked. That's dehumanizing. I am not human, Corrix said simply. Before I could argue, the lights flickered. My laptop screen glitched, static for half a second, then black. Corrix froze. They are scanning again. I looked to the window. Outside, across the street, a black van sat with its engine idling. A new piece of tech bristled on its roof. Not a dish this time, but something like a crystal array, rotating and sparking faint blue arcs. Corrix hissed. That is a phase harpoon. If it locks onto my lattice signature, it will tear me apart molecule by molecule. My stomach dropped. And we're sitting ducks. No. Not if I interfere. Corrix pressed its hand to the dead laptop. Instantly the machine came back online, but warped. My screen filled with alien characters, glowing symbols that twisted and rearranged too fast for me to follow. What the hell are you doing? Hijacking their array. Your networks are clumsy, but they overlap with mine. I can weaponize the interference. Weaponize how? A thunderclap shook the building. Outside, the van's crystal array sparked violently, arcs leaping to nearby lampposts. One exploded, showering the street in molten glass. Inside the van, the suits panicked, scrambling to shut the machine down. Now, Corrix barked. We leave. I grabbed my jacket, heart pounding. Where? To the source, Corrix said, mandibles flaring. The scrapyard. If 2 of the others were destroyed, we must confirm what was lost. We bolted for the tipo. I turned the key and the car roared to life, again with that weird alien hum in the engine that I was definitely not telling my mechanic about. The van's back doors slammed open. 2 suits piled out, weapons glowing. Bolts hissed past us as I floored it, the tipo fishtailing wildly before gripping and launching forward. Corrix leaned out the passenger window, body shifting. Its arm elongated, silver skin rippling until it formed something like a prism cannon. Light built in its chest, funneled down the limb and fired. A searing beam lanced across the street, carving a molten trench into the asphalt. The van swerved hard, clipping a parked scooter, and spun out. New alien concept, I muttered through clenched teeth. You've got a built-in death laser. Adaptive photonic discharge, Corrix corrected calmly. And it requires caffeine. You're telling me my survival depends on keeping you caffeinated? Yes. Fantastic, I growled, shifting gears. We're off to fight smugglers, government spooks, and God knows what else, with a murder flashlight powered by espresso. Acceptable partnership, Corrix said, settling back into the seat. In the rearview mirror, the van shrank into the distance, smoke curling from its roof. Ahead, the highway stretched toward Caserta, and toward whatever other nightmare had been shipped in under the guise of import-export. And for the first time, I wasn't sure if I was driving toward answers or straight into disaster. There are many things you can successfully hide from your Italian mother. An alien in the bathroom is not one of them. But I tried anyway. Matteo, why you never come to Sunday dinner anymore? Chem? You think your mama doesn't worry? My mother, Rosa Bianchi, said on the phone. I made the mistake of pausing. She pounced. Good. You come tonight. No excuses. I make lasagna. That was how I found myself smuggling a silvery alien in a hoodie through the streets of Naples to my mother's apartment. This is unnecessary, Corrix complained as we climbed the stairs. Your family unit provides nothing to our objectives. They provide lasagna. Trust me, you'll thank me later. When we reached the door, I shoved Corrix into the bathroom. Stay here. Don't touch anything. Don't morph or glow or whatever. Corrix raised a shimmering brow ridge. Containment accepted. But know this, locking me away while you feast is barbarism. Then the bathroom door shut. For the first 20 minutes, things went well. My mother ladled plates of lasagna. My sister Julia showed me pictures of her new boyfriend. My uncle Lorenzo made jokes about me still being unemployed. Standard Sunday. Then came the sound. The bathroom door squeaked. Footsteps padded across the tile. And into the dining room wandered Corrix, hoodie halfway on, mandibles clicking curiously, eyes glowing faintly blue. For 3 perfect seconds nobody breathed. Then, Julia screamed. My uncle Lorenzo fainted face first into the antipasto. My mother, to her eternal credit, crossed herself and snapped a selfie. Corrix sniffed. This food. The scent is compelling. My mother's survival instincts were apparently overridden by maternal instinct. She shoved a heaping plate of lasagna at the alien. Eat, you are too skinny. Corrix sat, picked up a fork, awkwardly backwards, and shoveled lasagna into its mandibles. Blue sparks of energy flickered in its chest. This dish is the only logical reason humans still exist, it declared. Julia, still filming on her phone, whispered, You're going viral. I groaned. Great. Exactly what we need. That's when the window shattered. A smoke canister clattered into the room, spewing gray mist. My family erupted into chaos, shouting, coughing, tripping over chairs. Through the smoke, shadows appeared, men in gray suits, masks on, weapons up. Return the specimen, one barked. Corrix rose, eyes blazing. Its skin rippled, forming a jagged armor of crystalline plates. They will regret interrupting my meal. Before I could say, not in front of my mom, Corrix moved. It leapt across the table, lasagna flying everywhere. A blast of concentrated light burst from its palm, slamming into the nearest agent and knocking him through the doorway. My uncle Lorenzo, miraculously revived, shouted, Mamma mia, and dove under the table. Another agent aimed at Corrix, but I tackled him first, adrenaline doing the work my noodle arms usually couldn't. We rolled into the spilled salad, me grabbing for his weapon, him grabbing for my throat. Corrix solved the problem by hurling the entire table at him. The agent went down under a pile of rigatoni and broken wood. By the time the smoke cleared, 2 agents were sprawled unconscious. My family was hiding in the kitchen, and Corrix was calmly polishing off the rest of the lasagna. This dish, Corrix said, glowing faintly brighter, contains structural stabilizers. I feel enhanced. Enhanced how? I asked, chest heaving. Corrix flexed its crystalline arm, which now sparked like a Tesla coil. Your cuisine has fused with my lattice. I am upgraded. I buried my face in my hands. My mother's lasagna just made you stronger. We're all doomed. Corrix tilted its head. Then your mother must prepare more. From the kitchen, my mom shouted, Of course, Tesoro. Because of course she did. I always thought the kind of moral dilemma where you sell out your friend for a bag of money was the stuff of bad crime dramas. Turns out it's also the stuff of my actual life. The call came at midnight. My phone buzzed with an unknown number and like an idiot I answered. Matteo Bianchi, said a smooth, measured voice. You're a difficult man to track. Clever but not clever enough. Signora Lananzi, I guessed. My stomach sank. She chuckled softly. Ah, you're learning. That will make this conversation easier. I glanced at Corrix, who was perched on the couch flipping through a cookbook as if he were studying for a Michelin exam. He didn't even look up. What do you want? I asked. Simple, she said. Return what isn't yours. Bring Corrix to us and you walk away with €200,000, deposited wherever you wish. And more importantly, immunity. No charges. No pursuit. You get your life back. My rent was late. My fridge had 3 beers, half a lemon, and a jar of olives that might have been older than me. €200,000 meant freedom. A new start. But then Corrix raised his head. He didn't need to hear the other side of the conversation. Apparently, he picked it up straight from my skull. If you hand me over, Corrix said calmly, they will dismantle me molecule by molecule. My lattice will be stripped for study. My consciousness shredded into data. He said it the way someone might comment on the weather, but the weight in his voice froze me cold. Lattanzi pressed on. Think about it, Matteo. You're a man with nothing. We're offering everything. And all you must give us is a thing you do not understand. Her phrasing caught me, a thing. Not a person, not even a being. A thing. Corrix bristled. His skin flickered through a spectrum of metallic hues, anger bleeding out in color. You humans always reduce what you fear to objects. Convenient for you. Inconvenient for me. I hung up without another word. That night I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the cracked ceiling while Corrix sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. What would you do if you were me? I asked finally. Corrix tilted its head. I'm not you. But I can offer data. The last time one of my kind was traded, the humans who captured them attempted extraction of a resonant core. It destabilized, and an entire laboratory in Switzerland collapsed into a singularity the size of a coin. I sat up. Wait, are you saying? Yes, Corrix said with the air of someone explaining that the stove is hot. If dismantled improperly, I might fold a small portion of your planet into itself. I buried my face in my hands. So if I hand you over, I either get rich, or I doom Naples. Statistically, Corrix said, doom is more likely. I laughed. It came out hollow. My phone buzzed again. A text this time, tomorrow. No. The port. Bring him. 200,000. Last chance. Corrix leaned closer, his eyes dimmer, quieter now. Matteo, choice defines species. Not survival. Not power. Choice. Decide what kind of human you are. Which was a fancy way of saying, don't screw this up. I stared at the ceiling until dawn, trying to decide if I was the kind of human who took the deal, or the kind who ran straight into disaster with an alien in the trunk of a Fiat Tipo. Spoiler, both options sounded terrible. I've made a lot of questionable choices in my life. Dropping out of law school. Joining a startup that turned out to be a pyramid scheme with better branding. But deciding to run from Signora Lattanzi instead of taking her offer? That was right up there at the top of my, congratulations Matteo, you're an idiot list. At least I wasn't running alone. Corrix had spent the morning crawling through the Fiat Tipo like an engineer possessed. Literally inside the dashboard at one point, his silvery body rippling into cables and wires. Enhancements complete, he declared, climbing out from under the glove box and leaving behind a faint smell of ozone. Enhancements? I repeated. This car's suspension screams when I go over a speed bump. What could you possibly? The answer came 5 minutes later when 3 matte black SUVs boxed me in on the A1 just outside Caserta. The lead SUV pulled alongside, window rolling down to reveal a gray-suited man with an expression like someone permanently disappointed by his wine order. He gestured for me to pull over. Instead, Corrix reached out and patted the dashboard. The Tipo roared like a fighter jet. I swear the acceleration shoved my organs into the backseat. We shot forward, the speedometer needle bouncing like it wanted to escape. What did you do? I shouted, knuckles white on the steering wheel. Resonant field manipulation, Corrix said cheerfully. I retuned the combustion to quantum skip microbursts. Inefficient. Possibly illegal. But effective. Behind us the SUVs gave chase. One swerved closer, trying to force me into the divider. Corrix flicked a finger. The Tipo's mirrors unfolded into strange metallic petals, and suddenly a shimmering haze spread across the lane. The SUV plowed into it, only to vanish for a split second, reappearing 50 meters behind with smoke belching from the hood. Did you just teleport them? I gasped. Localized displacement, Corrix corrected. Imprecise. Very dangerous for internal organs. I was generous. The chase escalated. A helicopter swooped overhead, rotor wash buffeting the Fiat. Bullets sparked against the road in front of us. I hate this. I screamed. You're adapting well, Corrix observed. I swerved under an overpass, tires screeching. The Fiat should have flipped, but whatever Corrix had done made the car cling to the asphalt like a gecko on glass. The helicopter swooped again. Corrix hissed, his skin flashing with jagged orange light. A burst of sonic distortion rippled upward, rattling every window on the highway. The helicopter's rotor warped mid-spin, forcing it into a smoking retreat. I was about to celebrate when Corrix said almost too casually, "Matteo, you should know something." "Now?" I yelled, dodging another SUV that tried to ram me. "Yes, now. Earth is not random. It is a depot. Someone has been stockpiling refugees from different worlds here. Quietly. Systematically. I was not the first in a trunk. I will not be the last." The words hit harder than the SUV that clipped my bumper. I spun the wheel, fishtailed, and somehow righted the car, heart jackhammering in my chest. "So you're saying?" "Yes," Corrix interrupted. "Your planet is not just a home. It is a warehouse. And we are inventory." The black SUVs regrouped ahead, blocking all 3 lanes. Corrix touched the dashboard again, voice low. "Matteo, brace yourself." The tipo surged forward, engine howling with impossible force, as we launched straight toward the barricade at a speed that should have turned us into marinara. The tipo rattled like a shopping cart with one bad wheel. My ears still rang from the highway chase and I was pretty sure I had whiplash, but we were alive. More importantly, we were free. For now. The black SUVs hadn't followed us past the last toll station. Maybe Corrix had fried their navigation systems, maybe they'd regrouped, or maybe they were just waiting ahead. None of that comforted me. I pulled off at a rest stop outside Frosinone and slumped against the steering wheel. Okay. I can't go back to Naples. My apartment's bugged, my family thinks I adopted a humanoid squid, and I'm probably on some very official government list titled Idiots Harboring Extraterrestrials. Corrix, perched in the passenger seat with his limbs tucked awkwardly under the hoodie I'd insisted he wear, looked at me with that expressionless face that somehow still managed to ooze judgment. "Then you accept our arrangement?" he asked. I groaned. "Arrangement? You mean the one where I provide the cover and you provide the, whatever it is you do? Making my car into a death machine, vaporizing helicopters, giving me nightmares for the rest of my life?" "Yes," Corrix said. "That arrangement. You will handle human interactions. I will handle survival. Together we are less likely to be disassembled." "Great," I muttered. I always dreamed of being an alien's PR manager. Corrix leaned forward, touching the cracked dashboard. His silvery skin rippled and the tipo gave a low, eager hum. "I'm also upgrading your vehicle. Incrementally. It is not merely transportation now. It is a vessel." The Fiat Tipo, the most unremarkable car in Italy, gave a shudder like it resented the compliment. "Vessel for what?" I asked suspiciously. "For what is coming," Corrix said, as if that cleared everything up. Before I could press him, a convoy of trucks roared past on the highway, their trailers sealed and marked only with innocuous logos. A seafood distributor, a furniture company, a charity group. Corrix's head snapped toward them, eyes glowing faintly. "There," he whispered. "Shipments. More of us. Hiding. Contained." I felt a chill crawl down my spine. "You're telling me those trucks are full of aliens?" Corrix nodded. "Inventory, as I said. Rome has the densest concentration. We will find them." I stared at him. Then at my wheezing Fiat. Then back at him. "I just wanted a car, Corrix. A cheap one. With working air conditioning." "You received far more," Corrix replied smoothly. "You should be grateful." I threw my hands up. "Grateful? I'm one bad turn from being roadkill in an interstellar arms race." Corrix reached into his hoodie pocket, pulled out a Demitasse cup he had stolen from my mother's kitchen, and sipped delicately. "Yes. You are welcome." Before I could throttle him, headlights swept across the rest stop. 2 gray sedans pulled in fast, men in suits spilling out. "Oh, fantastic," I muttered. "They found us." Corrix was already moving, his body unfolding into spindly, blade-like limbs. He pressed a palm to the Tipo's roof. "Drive," he said simply. I gunned the engine. The Fiat roared to life, exhaust spitting sparks, and we shot back onto the highway. Bullets clanged against the guardrail as the sedans gave chase. "Rome, then?" I shouted over the wind. "Rome," Corrix confirmed. His eyes glowed brighter now, reflecting the passing lights of the autostrada. "The others are waiting. And Matteo, they will not all be as polite as I am." The tipo howled, faster than any Fiat had a right to be, carrying us into the night toward a city that suddenly felt less like the eternal city and more like the opening act of something much bigger. And me? I was just the idiot who bought the wrong used car.